Hello, my name is Jessica Anderson, and today I will be showing you the research I did on elopement. Um, Applied research is the pursuit of knowledge to solve real-world problems, and in this case, I focused on specific problems having to do with learning and reinforcement in schools for the betterment of the individual's educational experience, as well as the advancement and expansion of scientific research. There is a very intense need for applied research in non-clinical settings that are currently functioning with insufficient resources. I think that should be called resource needy uh, because the resources just are not available in the school setting as they are in a clinical setting. Therefore, the research just isn't being conducted. So the research question that this study was based on was, will independent variables FCT, NCR, and extinction be effective treatment components in decreasing dependent variable, the target behavior elopement, for the participant. Now, the participant's name is Simon. He's an 8-year-old boy who was placed in special education classes to allow him access to education, despite the challenges that his dual diagnoses have put in the way of him accessing education. He has a diagnosis of intellectual disability, autism spectrum disorder, and ADHD. The setting for this project was Simon's special day class, which is a mild to moderate, multi-level, multi-grade level public elementary school setting. His presenting behaviors were getting a little out of hand from what the teacher told me and what she shared with me from his initial assessment. Elopement has been a significant and challenging behavior that was occurring from the beginning of the school year, and targeting the behavior of elopement was appropriate and socially valid because it was affecting Simon's skill acquisition, and it was also posing a risk for him and the other students and the other adults around him. I feel it would be unethical to not address the target of elopement because we know that behavior change programming can potentially cause immediate long-lasting effects that will improve his quality of life. So in this case, elopement was observed by Simon separating himself from his class peers and adults alike, so we call it the group, without verbally notifying an adult, i.e. during instruction. Simon separates himself or leaves the area from the class or his peers without being accompanied by another student or adult and without first verbalizing his intent to leave the group. In contrast, a non-example would be if Simon used the following words: need a break, or I want to, or can I, or may I. All of those are approximations of the functional communication training script that I taught him during the intervention phase. We also called this non-example correct responding, and that's what I was tracking on my graph as well. So anytime he uses the script, it's considered correct responding. So previous research has been done regarding elopement and multi-component treatment packages. One particular study that inspired me to do the research I did for this project was done by Lemowski and Associates in 2001. and it focused on a treatment package for elopement using an A-B design to evaluate the treatment effectiveness and confirming the existence of a functional relation between elopement behavior and the chosen treatment package. So very similar to what I did. In my method for my study, the objective was to conduct an experiment that can evaluate treatment effectiveness on the target behavior by examining whether there was or wasn't a functional relation between my chosen components of a treatment package, which was functional communication training, non-contingent reinforcement, and extinction, and the problem behavior, which is elopement. So the treatment package, oh, I'm sorry. I think I already explained that. Pardon me. Okay, so the design I used was an AB reversal design, and it was selected because of its straightforward and it's super straightforward in demonstrating a functional relation between the independent variable, the treatment package, and the dependent variable, which is the target behavior of elopement. Data was collected. Data was collected by tally as far as instances of elopement, and it was also taken for repeatability, which is also known as rate, for instances of correct responding, or what I explained earlier as using the functional communication training. Baseline procedure consisted of observations without any interaction with Simon or the staff, whereas intervention procedures included direct interaction while delivering treatment and reinforcement. The results of this study showed the baseline phase data points happened to be very variable. There was not much consistency as far as correct responding. And this was measured by the use of FCT script instead of elopement, and instances of elopement. In comparison, when the intervention phase began, consistency in correct responding rose, and there were no elopements. When analyzing the data in my graph and comparing correct responding with the tally of instances of elopement across all the phases, results confirmed the existence of a functional relation between the increased rate of correct responding during intervention phases, combined with the steep descending trend during the withdrawal phase. Together, both measures revealed a functional relation between the intervention and the target behavior of elopement, suggesting that the multi-component treatment package is beneficial to a special education setting for school-age children. There were limitations to the study, some of which were not really having the ability to rule out novelty. Also, time constraints as far as teaching the FCT. So Simon could have used a little bit more time learning the script. And it's also unclear as to whether there were ample opportunities for the target behavior to occur, because most of the observation time that I was able to schedule was during preferred activities, which could skew the data. There was also an issue with compliance with the teacher, although she said she was willing to implement the treatment package I was offering. When we sat down and talked about it, she was ultimately unwilling to perform the extinction procedure correctly. She wanted to continue to debrief with the student, even though it was shown through the functional assessment that the function of that behavior was attention. So that could skew the data as well. If I were to redo this study again, I would allow for much more time to refine procedure and data collection. I would make some modifications to what I was tracking and how I was tracking it if I had more time. I would also have incorporated staff training on how to collect the data and the reasoning behind the treatment package that I chose. And also I would give time to establish an IOA, which I did not get a chance to do in this study. Future research on this subject would require much more time but it would be worth it because it'd be beneficial to the special education community as a whole. The results of my current study, I think, could help practitioners by encouraging the use of data-driven decision-making, functional treatment options rather than using trial and error, and the use of multi-component treatment packages in educational settings. I think that it also encourages practitioners to act proactively, given that the chosen treatment components pull from antecedent strategies and consequence strategies instead of just being one-sided. So it really encourages them to think about the whole picture. Our classic like ABC condition and how we can manipulate the environment to change that behavior from looking at it from a full stance rather than just implementing what we're told in a book works. Again, I just want to reiterate, I hope that my study encourages practitioners to act proactively rather than when creating behavior programming rather than reactively. And I also feel that there is a need for future research in applying a full ABA program, behavior program, in public education settings to counteract the amount of research that currently exists in resource-rich settings, such as clinical settings or private school settings. And I think that covers it. Thanks so much.